And welcome back. Now, the Pretoria High Court has granted the City of Tshwane permission to evict all unlawful occupants from the fire-ravaged Melgisedek Building in Riviera, Pretoria. The ruling clears the final legal obstacle and paves the way for the demolition of this notorious hijacked structure that has plagued the city for at least 2 decades now. This development forms part of the city's efforts to take back control of government property and restore order. Tshwane MMC for Corporate and Shared Services and the Chairperson of the Bad Buildings Committee, Kholofelo Morodi, joins us now in studio this evening. MMC, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. I want to perhaps start the conversation with this before we speak about the actual court victory today. What is the Bad Buildings Committee? What does it exist?
It is a sub-mayoral committee that was designed to drive inner city rejuvenation. Yeah. So we've realized that Tshwane has a lot of problems with buildings that are hijacked, abandoned, but also we've also got a crisis of low-cost housing. We also have an issue. Remember, Tshwane is uniquely placed in the sense that we've got a lot of university students, and they were plagued with the issue of student accommodation. So that is what the Bad Buildings is about. It's about sorting out the hijacked and abandoned dilapidated buildings, but also addressing the issue of low-cost housing, student accommodation, and just your SMMEs that want to come into the city and do their business there. Yeah,
well, we'll get to the substantive work of the committee, but I want us to talk maybe a bit about this court victory today. In it, the city had made the promise, and of course this is part of the order of the court, that the occupants of the building have to be relocated. Yes. What interventions have the city made with regards to that before demolition of this building ensues?
Okay, so we've already identified a place where they will go, 2.5 kilometers away from where they currently are. It is a safe place that will be fenced around, something that they will not have. They will have access to running water. We'll also bring in chemical toilets there, so there will also be security in that building.
So is this a building or is it a temporary structure?
No, it is land. Remember, the law says that we must provide land. So it's temporary structures. It's similar to what we had in COVID.
Right,
so it's the same COVID tents that we had, but it is a safe space that will be fenced, where you will also have psychosocial from our...
Is that pending the placement of these people in permanent social housing, or is this it?
No, remember, the competency of local government is not, we don't provide permanent accommodation. It's actually a provincial competency. So what the city will do, this is a temporary measure, because remember what we're doing. I know we got an eviction order, but ours was to evacuate them because of safety. We are concerned that the building will collapse and we don't want to lose lives. That is why we are moving to that temporary structure. But what we will then do is to engage the provincial government and the national government, because at local government, the most we can do is to provide land where national or provincial government can build houses for them. Because majority of them, and I think in their application or in their opposing application to court, was that they were waiting on for RDPs that were promised to them. So that's why they ended up hijacking the... So what we will do as a city, temporarily locate them in that area, but engage provincial and national government to say as municipality, yes, we do have the land, please come on board and build houses for these people.
Yeah, let's talk about this building. It's quite, this building has a storied history in that it was attempts to get people evicted from it at least 20 years ago. There was a fire in there not too long ago that had several people hospitalized. What's the history of this? And how do you even say it? Melgisedek?
Melgisedek.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I actually googled it. It's like there's a biblical meaning to it, but I think for us it's a safety issue. It's been like that for a while, and I think it required a lot of political will to finally address it, because it is a serious humanitarian crisis there. There is no running water, there is no electricity, but above all, there is no sanitation. So for 20 years, the people have lived there. There is no running water, no electricity, and there's definitely no sanitation. So there's rodents, there's all sorts of health issues, but also there's social ills. There's drugs and prostitution there. A person has been recently stabbed to death there. So it is a serious a death trap. That's how we saw it. And that is why it was very important for us to get this judgment. And we are glad that the judge agreed with us that we must safeguard human life. And of course, I mean, with the fires, I must explain to you, Oliver, is that because there is no electricity, they were going to be ongoing, because this was not the first fire. Throughout the years, there's always been, they've had fires because people are trying to cook. In the winter, it got worse.
Yeah. How many buildings of such a nature have been identified across the city of Tshwane?
So through the Bad Buildings committee, there were 33 in phase 1 of the bad buildings. We identified 33 buildings. We've actually segmented them into buildings that belong to us as a municipality. The ones that belong to us, we've already put in active steps of putting them out to the market for the private sector to come on board, because as a municipality we cannot renovate them.
Are these occupied buildings?
No, some are occupied, some are underutilized. Remember, with government, you found, for example, the previous government that was in place, they preferred to go and rent out. If a building was dilapidating or they didn't want to use it anymore, they would just vacate it and leave it to lie idle. Then they will go and rent out. So this new government is, we are now going back into building internal capacity, getting our own buildings. But the ones that we have, like for example, the HP Phillips, it used to be the office of the speaker. At that point, it was just left abandoned when they built the new Tshwane house. Nothing happened to it. So it is dilapidated, but it's not hijacked. But what we are now doing is putting it to the market to get a private sector in, so that they can.
When you say putting it to the market, what do you mean? Do you mean selling it, leasing it?
We don't believe in selling state assets, because the municipality must always have assets, but it must also, private must also be able to make a profit. So we are giving them a 50-year lease. In that 50 years, they'll pay us a certain amount at a 7% income.
And what are the conditions of usage?
What they will do is they'll pay water rates and taxes. They pay us a monthly fee. Like I think with the HP Phillips is about 117,000 rand at 7% over 50 years. The only issue that we have is that obviously a lease cannot transfer. So if we get into a transaction with you as Oliver, 50 years it must always be with you, Oliver, or you must notify the city. But also, the other element that we do bring is we are driving student accommodation, low-cost housing. And then the nice offer that the city has made is that you have 2 years. For the first 2 years, you don't have to pay us a cent, because we know that we are giving you a building that is dilapidated.
That requires work.
So for that 2 years, you will be fixing it. And then after that 2 years, then you are able to make a profit and you can start repaying the city.
When I asked about conditionalities of usage, I asked very specifically, will the city dictate to a private partner that this must be for the purposes of social housing and or student accommodation or a social good, for instance?
Yes. No, there are buildings that we have identified for that, but there are also buildings that we want to drive business, so they're going to be commercial. So we've done a high use, best use model, where we can look at the different areas to say this area is zoned residential. So we would advise that you can do low-cost housing, student accommodation. Like if it's land close to universities, we'd advise them that this would be ideal for student accommodation.
Yeah, and of these 33 buildings, how many of them will be put to the market? How soon? And what's the turnaround time they're expecting on?
We've already started in November. Buildings have gone on the market. In April, again, the second tranche is going onto the market. So we the turnaround time already. In January we had our closing date. So we've had people applying. Like for the showgrounds, that has already closed. In the second phase, we've got the HP Phillips coming up. We've got various buildings coming up. And I must tell you, there's a lot of interest from the private sector. There's also a lot of interest from the universities as well, because they understand that student accommodation is a big issue, especially for us, the City of Tshwane.
Yeah, certainly. Kholofelo, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Kholofelo Morodi is the MMC for Corporate and Shared Services in the City of Tshwane.